welcome to Shovelware Diggers. Our dig team is currently excavating the Softkey Shareware 2000 hit games 2CD collection. You can find a link in the video description listing the entire directory structure of this archive. Here's what our diggers have for week 252. For more information on how to join the dig team, simply follow the Patreon link in the video description. Now, without further ado, let's get to it. First up, we have a team dig from Dookie and Yarmoranta. DOSGAMES /board/flipit46. Okay, so who wants to bet this is going to be like a Reversi or Othello type game? Got fileid.diz, a couple doc files, and flip47sh.exe. Why is the folder called flipit46? Are we getting the version numbers wrong? Are we in some like weird alternate dimension, sort of parallel? I don't know. Do not pay attention to anything I'm saying, because I don't know what I'm saying. Let's just type the file id.diz. Flipit 4.6. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay, so we have a file id.diz, which says this is version 4.6. The folder is also 4.6. The executable is 4.7. What is going on? And yeah, it's saying right here that it's a Reversi/Othello game, but it also says you can select various grid patterns and sizes for the board, which that might be interesting if that's true. But let's go edit the flip.doc. So flip it and Octothello? Okay, now we've got like two different names to the game. This is getting weird. Okay, well this is kind of not a good sign. There have been many versions of Othello published in magazines and shareware libraries, and yet they all play very weak games. Octothello is probably the first really decent Othello game to be released as shareware. Right. This is I know this happens a lot with some of this shovelware that we dig up, but one of the things you don't want to do if you're trying to drum up support for your game is disparage your inspiration. So a big part of this documentation is just basically explaining the strategy of the game. Like the basic game. It's showing a standard 8x8 grid. So yeah, that's kind of a weird thing to be documenting. Like, I mean, wouldn't I want to know like registration details or something? By finally getting to there? Okay, so basically it's $24 to register the game, and the full version apparently has like replay, save, load, print, and board setup, as well as the ability to customize the difficulty. But in any case, what was that other doc file? Because there's a flip2.doc as well. Okay, so this is just explaining the difference between the executables, and then the pricing, and then... Oh, and it's got the keys labeled here. Okay, let's actually see this thing. So flip47sh. So this version of Flipit is released as shareware. You may distribute it as long as you don't charge more than a small disk copying fee. Okay, space for default VGA or select CJ, EGA, VGA, or text modes. Oh, just default VGA. Okay, so had an interesting scroll up effect, I guess. So based on old Reversi, hundreds of variations. So we can change the corner shape between a lot of options, but it doesn't tell us what they all are. And we got board size, which we can make as small as 4, or... Oh, that's not a good sign. Or as big as 19. So yeah, minus works fine. Plus doesn't. You gotta hold shift while pressing plus. It's always fun when you see someone touting their horn that they've got the best game out there, and then they make very minor mistakes like that. It's also kind of interesting that they have an option here for playing to lose as opposed to win, which I kind of understand where they're going with this, since in Othello and Reversi, every move you make gets you points, and if you can make a move, you have to make a move. So that's kind of an interesting way of going about it, going for the low score to win instead of the high score. But in any case, space to play. So, oh, I guess we're not using a normal board, because we had the the corner shape was 3. The thing is, it didn't allow you to see what the corner shape was going to be ahead of time, right? But actually, is there a way to go back to abort? Yes. Because maybe we got some different corner shapes here. Let's try corner shape 7. Okay, so that just sort of removed the squares, I guess. Now, I did notice it allowed the grid to go up to a 19 by 19 size. So let's just see how big that ends up being, because 8 by 8 was taking up a good amount of the playfield. Oh, so it actually does have smaller graphics. And yeah, those corners look very, very small now. So what if I hit a board size of 4? Oh, well, this board's gonna go well. So apparently it won't use, it only has two tile sets, one for the small size and one for the big size. Yeah, this game is not going to go anywhere. In fact, it can't go anywhere with the corners like that. Okay, and it looks like corner mode 0 is the actual normal board shape. So, well, let's try it on that 3 setting. So hit space to play. And then, so it says black move. That's a very interesting shade of black. It's very blue. So I guess go there. Okay. Computer's looking for a move to make. Made a move. So now I guess I'm going to go here. Computer is looking for a move. Computer decides to go there. Okay. I'm going to do this one. So yeah, this is playing fine. I kind of don't like how long it takes the computer to move, but at the same time, it's like, I get it because it's trying to go for some pretty high-end calculations and stuff. Now, I don't want him to take the computer to take the corner here, but that means I gotta find some way to wrangle that out of the computer. I think probably going like this. I only got one of those corner sections there, so that should help things, but it's not a true corner, I don't think. Because having control of corners in Reversi or Othello is pretty powerful, but we'll see how this goes. I think I'm going to move... No, if I move there, then he can get this one. So I probably don't want to do that. Ooh, the only trick is that diagonals are a thing, so if I put a piece here, then he can actually take all 3 of these, then he'll have this entire corner section. That would be no good. Ooh, I just got a triple corner there, with that, the way these corners are specially laid out. So that should help things along. The question is, how do I ensure that he doesn't start taking pieces more easily? Especially now that he's got this one here. So the way things are at the moment, I don't actually have very many moves. I can only go here or here, and neither of those are good because it allows him to get this corner here. Wait, do I even have a move right now? Can't go there. Can't go there. Can't go there. I don't think I have a move. So I guess I have to pass. Yeah, I've got a funny feeling the computer's gonna win this one. I still don't have a move. Yeah, this is not good. Okay, I think I got a move now. Yeah, the computer's dominating. Wow. The computer basically completely locked me out of my final moves there. Holy jeez. Okay, so that was Flip It. The AI is clearly relentless on level 5. I'm guessing I could probably turn that down, but sheesh. Anyways, that was $24. It has variable size boards. It can change the corners around to make them a little different. And, you know, all things considered, this is pretty advanced for a Reversi/Othello game. So I guess if you really like that style of game and wanted to experiment with it, then yeah, this game actually does work fine for that. Next up from James Dunn, we've got WINGAMES /strategy /atoms. I think I might actually know what this is. Atoms. So you got a help, write, file id.dis, readme, register, and the executable. So fileid.diz. Atoms, a challenging game of strategy and luck. You are presented with a grid, and your objective is to locate all the atoms as quickly as possible. To accomplish this task, you have two tools. Wine-on emitters? Win-on emitters? Is this an actual thing? And according to the help file here, the registration says that the person responsible for this is a Mike McNamee, and it's a $5 registration. Okay, so how does it actually play though? So the objective of Atoms is to find all atoms hidden in the gaming grid as quickly as possible. The following section explains how to play the game. So you choose a skill level, start a new game. To fire a win-on particle? But this is not a thing. Unless, oh, wait a minute. What if they're trying to like take the word ion, like ion is something that deals with atoms, and then make it more Windows-y? So it's a win-on? Win-on? You know what? I'm just going to pronounce this ion. I don't care that it's not spelled that way. Yeah, so this is going to play pretty much how I expect it to. Basically, you're trying to fire beams around the board to figure out where particular atoms are on the board. And then where the beam enters and exits from kind of gives you a hint as to where these particles will be. So it's saying here that if it encounters a particle head-on, it reverses. If it encounters the corner of a particle, then it changes direction. I think this is going to play exactly how I think it's going to. So, atoms. So, get this nice and centered. No maximize button, which is what I would expect. So, how do we want to... Well, first of all, it's not actually centered. It's kind of a weird size. So we got the help here. We got our about page, apparently made in 92. You know, I kind of like the fact that this is sort of made to resemble the Minesweeper look, like the Windows Minesweeper look. Doesn't have a lot of customization though. Oh, so it does have different sizes if you change the game setting. Okay, well we'll leave it on easy. So new game. So okay, so if we fire one like this, we see that it enters here and at some point comes back out here. Okay. So what if we fire one, say, here? Comes back out the same way it went in. So now there might be one here. Actually, what are these oh, these numbers are the order that I'm firing them in. Okay, so that's to help identify what paths everything is taking. Because that's one of the things you'll note with this style of game is that it's impossible for one particular spot on the board to ever hit more than one other spot on the board. So I guess basically what you're trying to do is figure out where these are with as few moves as possible. Okay, this is very odd. All four of these came back to the point they was launched from. That means all four of these hit something dead on, or hit a pair of things that had a space between them. That's weird. Okay, this one bounced like that, so it's a pretty good chance that there's something there. Which means I'm going to guess that there's something there. And I'm going to take another guess that there's one there. But then what about this 5? 5 is a strange one. Oh, there's another one right here. So I guess there's just one more to worry about. Right here? Have I got it? Wait, that's a new game button? How do you know when you've won or lost? Okay, I think I'm getting close on this one. I just have one more to find. Right there? Okay. Okay. So if you do put all of them incorrectly, it will actually end the game. But like, I mean, there's not really any good indication that the game is over other than that high score thing popping up. But then if you didn't make the high score, like, I don't know, that's just weird. Like even Windows Minesweeper had a little smiley face that would change to be wearing shades if you won. But this doesn't have it. It's just a blank button. There's nothing here. Oh, that was Atoms. It kind of works. Let me put it this way. It works, but it feels like it's unfinished. Like, it feels like there's more that could have been done to like spruce this up to make it more user-friendly, just in terms of being able to more easily tell like where you are in terms of progressing through the game. Not to mention just in terms of like the look, like having this button just be blank. And not to mention, it has these 4 skill settings, but even Windows Minesweeper had a custom setting so that you could actually define the size of the board and how many things are on it. Well, all of these settings here could have been implemented with a custom feature, so why is there no custom feature? Like, that's what I'm thinking here, is that this probably isn't like the final version the guy had planned, but maybe this isn't the final version. Maybe this is the one that just happened to end up on this CD. But again, it was only being charged $5 for it, so I guess for that, it's like, if you really want this kind of game, but I've seen and played better than that, so it really depends. Next up from RuneFox, we've got WINGAMES /GG/BILLTAX. Why do I have a funny feeling this is not going to be a game? It's just going to be something for like writing up bills and doing tax stuff. In fact, it's not even a program. It's a freaking screensaver. What's it do? Bills computing tax screensaver for Windows 3.x. Bash the Clinton presidency the multimedia way. This screensaver will display a small cartoon of Bill driving a bulldozer that is destroying your Windows screen. Oh, it has sound. Perfect. Okay, Bill's tax. Gotta set up. User supported software. There's no way in heck I'm paying $5 for something like this, and I haven't even seen it yet. Oh boy. Okay, what's it look like?
I will not raise taxes on the middle class to pay for these programs.
That's all it says. That's all it does. This is not worth
raise taxes on the middle class to pay for these programs.
This is not worth $5. And since that was pathetic, we're getting one more dig out of RuneFox, WINGAMES /unclassified/COD. So I guarantee that this is going to have nothing to do with Call of Duty, because Call of Duty didn't exist when Windows 3.1 existed. Or, wait a minute. I mean, technically Windows 3.1 still exists, because that's how I'm using it. I don't know, I'm confusing myself. Well, this says CLKO Doom. So this is like Clock of Doom or something? Click of Doom? Like zip drives, only instead of being death, it's doom? What's the right file say? Neon Softworks Clock of Doom. So, copyright 92 by Lauren Richardson, Neon Softworks. So, this feels like it's a lot of documentation for something that's probably going to be just a clock. Anyways, introduction. Neon Softworks Clock of Doom, also known as COD, and not charged on delivery, is a clock that has the unusual characteristic of not telling the time. Instead, it tells how much the US military has spent so far this year on a second-by-second basis, or it will tell you how many acres of the world's irreplaceable forests are being destroyed while you are staring at the clock. If that's not to your liking, tell it to display the US federal budget deficit. Watch the deficit grow before your eyes. You know, the funny thing is that given what these numbers are like now, I'm going to bet that when I start the program, this number will actually be too small. Taking bets now. Still not impressed? Display the barrels of oil being used by automobiles this year and watch the total grow by staggering numbers as you sip a cup of coffee. Too depressed now? Okay, have it display something more uplifting. Something like the number of miles ridden on bicycles so far this year. Or make up your own clock, whatever suits your mood. Clock of Doom will display it. It's like Twitter, only without the internet. Oh, this is a new one. So, we have a program here, which is selectively freeware or shareware, depending on your answer to a poll here. So basically, if you are a United States citizen and will be voting age by November 4th, 1992, and answer yes to any of the following questions, then you're required to spend $10 to pay for the program. And those things that qualify you for having to pay for this are being a Republican, having voted for Ronald Reagan or George Bush, considering voting for the George Bush, favor of restricting abortion rights. This is a political nightmare waiting to happen. And yeah, most of this documentation is just on how to add your own clock to this thing, because basically this is just a countdown timer type program. So we're going to run it, and it's going to display one of its many stats in the corner here. And so right now it's Pentagon spending dollars, and it's going up by X number every second. So 10 billion in Pentagon spending dollars. Okay, I like that it has the 1992 qualifier here, because I'm going to guess this is a lot higher now. So anyways, so we can go to setup and we can change which one of these we want. So what was the one that we were talking about before? Federal budget deficit. So it's not exactly the same as Pentagon spending. So is that in here? Well, we got 3 of them. Interest paid on National Department for no, I don't think that's it. Government spending of money it doesn't have, i.e. the deficit for 1992. Yeah, that number's kind of small. That's a very small number for the actual US deficit right now. At least it has one that makes a little more sense, because this one is seconds elapsed since January 1st. So yeah, this entire counter thing is only going by the current year. So it kind of makes a little more sense, because how are you supposed to know, like, how things are going to progress beyond a certain point? Because a lot of the numbers change all the time. Like seconds elapsed, obviously that's going to be constant unless there's some weird phenomena that changes how time works. But and for a lot of these, it makes sense that it's going to be rooted in a particular point in time. So we're a little too far in the future for many of these to actually continue to make sense. Well, it's kind of funny that one of these particular timers happens to be murders committed in the US in 1992 as a relatively small number compared to the numbers we're normally seeing in this program. So this is one where it actually takes multiple seconds or probably minutes for it to tick up a notch. So it's kind of not a good example to use for your program, but you know, I guess it is a depressing number to think about. Oh, this one's very wrong, though. Total world population. I hate to break it to you, but you need a couple more. You need a couple more on that billion there. Anyways, it's Clock of Doom. It's just a very depressing program that gives you numbers that you don't want to think about. It's, yeah, it's not worth $10. But fortunately, you only had to pay for it if you were politically conservative, at least according to all the qualifiers.